You are now listening to the Mel Gill Sports Podcast, a woman-run pod that is dedicated to bringing an alternate perspective to sports in all aspects.
There we go. Hi. I'm
Oh, look at your little sign. It's so cute. Yes, it's so cute.
Welcome back to the Mel Gill Sports Pod. I am just re-recording this intro because when I was recording with Lex, it did not capture the intro when I introduced her and her reaction to my little intro, which is very sad. But you still get to see the whole interview, so I'm just going to repeat the intro for you guys to hear everything I had to say about her. I hope you're all having a wonderful day, and today's episode is extremely exciting because I have a very, very special guest. Not only is she extremely talented and hardworking, but she's a beautiful and lovely person inside and out. I am so thrilled to welcome WNBA Star Lexie Brown from the Chicago Sky.
Go away and do our, vacations and whatever. But since we've been back, we've just been working really hard in practice, which has been great for us, but I think we're all just ready to start playing again. But we've had some really tough practices, been going at it, been improving, so we're really excited to get back to playing.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go into the questions now. First of all, I'd like to know who got you into basketball, and were there any other influences aside from your father that made you fall in love with the game and want to play?
You just hit it on the head. My dad got me into the game, my mom as well, and just being around, other athletes growing up. A lot of my parents' friends were professional athletes, so a lot of my friends were also athletes. My dad coached in the WNBA for a few years, so I was around the league when I was, I think I was in elementary school around that. I don't remember exactly what age I was, but I was definitely in elementary school. So just being around those players and how they, just included me and embraced me was just so amazing to me. And it made me, want to be a part of that league one day for sure.
Yeah. So who were some of your other role models growing up? Doesn't have to be basketball related.
Let's see. I guess I don't want to call her a role model, but someone that I looked up to definitely was Christy Tolliver. So anybody that has listened to me talk about my basketball journey knows that Christy's always been my favorite player. I know she's probably tired of me mentioning her in every interview or podcast that I talk about, but she was definitely somebody that influenced me. And then I would say, I just looked up to my parents pretty much for everything. I'm the oldest sibling, so I didn't really have an older sister or brother to look up to either. And my aunts, uncles, pretty much my entire family kept me motivated, and they are successful in their own aspects of life, and just watching them was so amazing to me. And I was just like, I just have to be successful whatever I choose to do, whether that's sports or anything else. Watching my family just grow and love each other and be successful definitely made me want to be that as an adult as well.
That's beautiful. I was wondering if there was any maybe non-basketball influences aside from your family, which you mentioned. Maybe, maybe a teacher or anyone who helped you in ways off the court.
Let me think. It's funny because I've just been so blessed to have so many different people in my life at different stages of my life. It would take a while for me to go through one at a time, but I remember having elementary school teachers that, stuck out to me. I had a kindergarten teacher that was really special to me. Basketball coaches that, I've been coached by. I guess I'll give a special shout out to Shay Robinson. So he's at Ole Miss right now as an assistant coach, but he trained me when I was younger, worked with my dad at their training facility, and he was just always somebody that pushed me to be my best. Always believed in me. He was with me for 1 year at Maryland, which was really amazing that we're both growing in our careers together. And he's just been always a very solid person for me and my family. So I'm probably going to send him this podcast so we can hear me show him some love. But, shout out to Shay. He's always been, an amazing person in my life and my family's life.
It's great how many positive influences you've had throughout the course of your life.
Yeah, it's definitely a blessing because sometimes people just are floating through their lives, by themselves. And I've just always had such an amazing support system, and it's always come from different places, and I never take that for granted ever.
Where does your inspiration and motivation come from?
My inspiration, motivation, a lot of that comes from within. Everything I do, I mean, I don't want this to sound selfish, but everything I do for myself. I've kind of outgrown the needing outside people to applaud me or reward me or tell me, that I'm doing a good job, even though sometimes it is nice to hear that you're doing a good job from other people, especially when they're seeing how hard you're working at it. But if as long as I feel good about what I'm doing and where I'm at and how I'm behaving and how I'm treating other people, then I'm good with that. And I think that's helped me so much growing up and definitely in my professional career, just starting to just do things for me.
I totally agree. Sometimes the best validation is just coming from within, from yourself. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you do or what do you seek when life throws an obstacle at you?
I seek out my mother first, and I'm like, Mom, help! I don't know what's going on. I don't like how I'm feeling right now. I mean, she's always the person I call first. I pray to God. Sometimes, not sometimes, pretty much every day, whether things are going bad or good. I started writing daily affirmations in a journal a few weeks ago, and then also, a little mini prayer. I write one down and then I say it. And, I think that's just been something that has helped me stay super positive. And I think this past year has been tough for a lot of people. It's definitely been tough on me mentally and emotionally. So the fact that I've been able to stay pretty positive throughout it all has been super impressive to me, because I feel like if this happened to me maybe a year or two or maybe 2 years ago, like it would have just taken me out, completely out, and put me in this really dark place. And I've just grown a lot as a person, and the way I deal with negative things that happen to me, negative people that are around me, and I've just really figured it out how to just stay as positive as I can be, because sometimes you're just like, what, I'm just having a bad day today, and that's just is what it is. But for the most part, I'm really proud of myself and my growth in that aspect of my life.
You kind of already answered my next question, but I was going to say, what are some ways that you take care of your mental health during this season?
I take a lot of naps. And sometimes people are like, well, you sleep a lot, that means you're sad or depressed. But like, really, I just love sleeping. And sometimes I just want to take a nap. And if something is bothering me, I'm just going to sleep it off. And usually when I wake up, I'm like over it. So I do sleep a lot. And this season in particular, I've really been more extroverted. And usually I'm a super introverted person, but the last few months, I've kind of done some self-reflecting and realized that I am, in fact, a pretty extroverted person that needs just time to recharge sometimes. So I wouldn't even I used to consider myself extremely introverted, but I don't think that's not who I am at all. I'm a very extroverted person. I've met a lot of people, and being in the bubble last year made me realize how much I need my life outside of basketball for me to continue to enjoy and love being in the gym and playing basketball. So I've really been doing a lot of, stuff off the court, different types of working out. I've been meeting a lot of people, been going to try new things, new restaurants. But the people that I've met, especially in Chicago, have been incredible, and, definitely kept me focused on, being my best self and not letting little things bother me and get me off track.
That's really inspirational. So an obstacle in your life, which you previously mentioned, was kind of rolling with the title that you were a person that you were not. I wanted to know, how did accepting that misunderstood label that you mentioned that was placed upon you, how did that affect different aspects of your life, such as your friendships, your family, or basketball even?
With my family, I've always been who I am with them, so it didn't really ever impact my relationships with them, but they were noticing how I was interacting with other people, and my mom is good for a call out or two, so I've had a lot of deep conversations with her, and she always holds me accountable, and she's just like, and she's never afraid to tell me when I'm in the wrong. So I'm telling her about situations that I'm dealing with, and a lot of them had to do with basketball, and she's like, you are not correct in this situation, Lex. Like, this is not who you are. Like, I know things probably aren't going the way you expected them to or the way you wanted to, but you can't change who you are in reaction to that. You need to just keep being yourself, and everything's going to work out for you. And it took me 2.5 seasons to really self-reflect and hold myself accountable for the way I was behaving and the way I was acting, the way I was, pretending to be this person that didn't want to be bothered and didn't, care about anything and things like that. So I think it was a really good learning experience for me. And I'm really happy that that is in the past and I'm over that, because just the way that I'm interacting with people and living my life now is just way more fun, and it makes me happier and it makes people around me happier. And that's just the way I love to live my life. And it's just been so much better.
It takes a lot of strength to learn and grow and do what you did in these past couple of years, truly.
Yeah, for sure.
So you mentioned previously that it was a little discouraging to be on 3 teams in 4 years. I want to know, what have you learned or taken from this? And would you be fair to say that it's kind of given you a chip on your shoulder?
Yeah, it's definitely been hard. People that don't play sports or have never been on a team, they don't understand how much an environment is important to your growth as a person on and off the court or field or whatever. And sometimes a player just needs to find their environment that they're going to thrive in. And I just feel like I don't know if I've found that environment yet. I think, I've found success on and off the court in the situations I've been in, but to this point, I'm not sure if I've found my spot where I can truly blossom as a player. And, right now, I love the situation I'm in right now. Don't get me wrong. I love my teammates. I love Chicago. I'm having a really fun time. But, this season in particular has just been really tough on me mentally. And, I wouldn't say it's taken my confidence away, but it definitely took a blow this season, from the beginning of training camp, getting waived, getting brought back, getting waived again. It was just a lot for someone who has seen success in the league, deal with. And I'm not the only player that has dealt with that this year or any years in the past. But I think that a lot of players have bounced around the league a lot. And because there's only 12 teams, there's not a lot of opportunities. I think you really just either have to wait your turn or just find your place. And, I'm good with doing either one. There's only 12 teams, so, I can't bounce around forever. Or I was joking with my friend one day. I'm like, maybe I could just play on every team, be the first player to play on every team in the WNBA and then be done. But I think it's all part of the process. It's a journey. I'm really enjoying it. But, it is what it is. And like I said, just trying to stay positive through it all has just been the best way to, move forward.
Well, I wish you the best in that.
Thank you.
What would you say has been the biggest lesson that you've learned throughout your whole journey?
The biggest lesson, I would say, trusting your journey. I know I just said that, but, I really do think everything happens for a reason, and you're placed in certain situations for a reason. On the court, off the court, there's just been different opportunities that have appeared, even when I'm going through something like, why is this happening to me? Why am I dealing with this? But then a few days later, something amazing happens. That probably wouldn't happen if I wasn't in that situation I was in. So, it's kind of just rolling with the punches, trusting your process, trusting your journey, working hard no matter what. Because if one thing about me is no one can ever, say something about my work ethic or, how much I love the game and things like that, because I make sure that is known everywhere I go. So, being a good teammate, working hard, being in the gym a little bit extra, things like that have become super important to me and, kind of a part of, the reputation I have around the league is, a really hard worker, and I'm really proud of that. And I think that's definitely helped me, in this journey.
I just want to say I find it extremely admirable, just the way you talk, the way you've been able to grow and learn and just acknowledge your past self and while getting closer to who you truly are, right? And I imagine that your journey has consisted of a lot of self-reflection and accountability.
Oh, yeah.
So how important do you think those two things are?
I think accountability is everything. And I think that we are in a society right now that blames other people a lot. And I think that if more people held themselves accountable, you don't have to publicly
For sure.
Like, acknowledge that you're holding yourself accountable. That's a conversation you have with yourself, and then your change behavior. And I think that so many people just are willing to blame other people for things that are going on if it's not going their way. And, even to this day, I find myself doing that, but I've learned to self-check myself very quickly when I find myself going down that train of thought, like, oh, it's everybody else's fault. Oh, nothing is my fault, da, 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 da. And, like I said, my mom and my parents, if I miss one, they're going to get me straight real quick. And I think that's been my favorite part of my growth as a person and a player, is just being accountable and, self-reflecting every now and then, because sometimes you're just kind of like, why are things happening like this? Like, why are things doing what, like, why is this all going on this way? And sometimes you just have to sit back and be like, now, how did I react in this situation? Or how did I respond to this person to make them feel? And I'm a very empathetic person. So I have to Google what an empath was, and it's me 100%, and I hate it. And I love it though, but my mom is the same way. She told me I got it from her, and just the ability for me to put myself in someone else's shoes or someone else's situations has been so helpful for me. And a lot of people don't do that, but it's super important, because the things that you say, the way you act, the things you do, they affect how other people feel and the way they, go about their day or their life. So it's really important to me to always, before I say something, before I do something, I'm always like, how is this going to make so-and-so feel? How is this going to make blah, blah, blah feel? Or if I was them, how would I react if someone did this to me? And, I have those mini dialogues in my head all the time. And it's like changed my life 100%.
Yeah, I completely agree. And especially with like social media, I feel like people tend to forget the impact and the weight of our words, especially when talking to other people.
Yeah, for sure.
I saw a few of your tweets about the recent chaos of free agency in the NBA, such as saying LeBron should work in a front office after he retired.
Literally.
I completely agree with. I wanted to know, what are some of your thoughts on the moves that have been made so far, and who do you think is like a rising threat in the NBA?
LeBron is the mastermind of the NBA at the moment, and he's really good at it. I can't do anything but praise him for that, because why would you not try and get your friends on your team or the best team together? Like, why would you not do that? I think that free agency is always crazy. Seeing everybody's salaries is always crazy. And, we always talk about it in practice and stuff, like, I can't even imagine, like, making that much money for, like, doing what he does. Like, I look at a player that pretty much has, like, a similar role to me, and I know it's, like, comparing apples to oranges, but you're just, like, I could be, like, if I was a guy, I would be making that much money for doing exactly what I'm doing right now. But,
really
we're going to get there. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get there, but I think, slowly but surely we're going to, have that type of money coming in, which would be a blessing. The team that is on the rise.
What do you think about the Bulls?
I think the Bulls are going to be, they're going to be good. It's going to be interesting, when sometimes you put a star who hasn't had another star around him, and then you give him a star who's been around, like, the dynamic always takes some time to get used to. Sure. I'm really excited to watch the Lakers. I don't know how good they're going to be, because they're a little old, but but they have Russell Westbrook now, but figuring out how him and Braun are going to be in charge of the ball is going to be interesting. But I think Russ wants a championship, so I think he's going to, do what LeBron says, like they always do. And then, let's see, the Heat are going to be really good. They're going to be a defensive team, clearly. It looks like that's what they're aiming for, but they're always a pretty good defensive team. I think the storyline of the day right now is Dennis Schroeder not accepting his extension, and now he can't even get a contract, so that's really sad. But he should fire his agent or fight him. Fire him or fight him, like one or the other, or both, because why would you turn down 4 for 84? But hey, I don't know what his thought process was. Maybe he knew something that was in it and it didn't happen. But next season, like, I was really excited for NFL season, but then free agency started, and I was like, no, I'm excited for NBA. Like, we can watch NFL sometimes, but NBA season this year is going to be so much fun, and I'm really excited about it. and I have no idea who's going to win the championship. So that's always
Crazy.
great.
There's so many different contenders, and the league has just changed so much in the past couple of years.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's going to be fun.
So if you know Lexie, you know that she's a huge Damian Lillard fan. So Lexie, I'm not sure if you've spoken to him or not, but my question is, I want to know if you got the chance to speak to him, what would you say to him?
I have not spoken to him before, but he has met my parents at All-Star, and my mom sent me a picture of him. Like, he was like posing by himself, like the awkward picture. Like, Mom, why did you just take a picture of him by himself? If I were to speak to him, I would ask him why he didn't want to come on my podcast, because apparently he said no. So I'd ask him that. I don't know, I would just pick his brain about being, you know, underdog, having that type of mentality, and why he won't leave Portland, because he should. But, you know, there's a lot of things that I would love to pick his brain about, because just the way he plays the game is really phenomenal to me. It's really similar to how I like to play basketball. So just probably asking him how he got to that level, and when he decided that shooting from 40 feet was what he wanted to do, and things like that. But to have a conversation with him would be really cool, and hopefully it happens sometime in the future.
I'd love to listen to that on like a podcast or something. That'd be so
I
fun.
tried, he said no. So whatever.
One day, don't give up.
One day.
So this can consist of both WNBA or NBA players, but if you had to choose, who would be in your starting five?
Oh. Okay, so we can do a mix of WNBA and NBA players. Okay. My point guard would be, you know, I'm just gonna say my fave players right now. My point guard would be Trae Young. My shooting guards would be I don't know. There's so many good players.
It's so hard to pick. It probably makes
and I hate putting like
leagues.
WNBA players in like these types of lists, because I'm playing with them and against them. So like, and if any WNBA players ever hear this, like, I respect y'all, but I'm not putting y'all on my list. So. Let's see. You know, I will. I'll put Enrique as a shooting guard. I'll put. Oh no, there's just so many. Who's another shooting guard? I'm gonna alternate. So, what do we do? Trae, Enrique. It's a lot of shots going up between those two. I'll put LeBron in there because at the 3. I'll put Stewie at the 4. And Tina Charles at the 5. We don't have a lot of passing in that group. LeBron is gonna, LeBron and Trae, they'll handle it. They'll be fine. They'll be okay.
It's okay.
The girls can get all the buckets.
I wanted to know, how does it feel knowing that you have young girls watching you and looking up to you?
I love it. It's one of my favorite things about being a professional athlete is being a role model or some type of role model. You know, I just hope that for me, my goal is to inspire girls to do anything, not just to be a basketball player. Because I know obviously that's not everybody's goal, but I want to be able to be a role model to, you know, be a good student, to, you know, have your own style, to be, you know, girly, but also, you know, have another side of you that's, you know, not so girly, but, you know, still really tough and, you know, competitive. And the fact that you can be both, you can be tough, competitive, and feminine and girly. And that you can do whatever you want to do if you work hard enough at it. Be a good student, you know, still have a social life, have friends, go out, do other things you want to do, but still killing in the classroom, you know, things like that is my favorite part of being someone that girls look up to. You know, I have 3 younger siblings, so, you know, I've had that role since I've been little, and it's one that I love so much.
Yeah, you've definitely inspired a lot of people, including myself. Even just today, just you've spoken about so many different things, and it helps a lot. I'm trying to hopefully one day cover both the leagues. So, thank you.
No, this has been great. You're doing a great job, for sure.
So with the W getting more recognition and more athletes embracing it, becoming more accessible and more frequently televised, how important do you think this is for the future of women's basketball, and also how important is it for female athletes?
I think it's been great. A lot of people, their first reason, I'm like, why don't you watch WNBA games? Like, I don't know where to watch them at. Yeah. And now we're on TV all the time, so
no excuse now.
I think that's been great. I know the little League Pass app and thing always has their own little issues, so I'm really glad that a lot of TV channel, big TV stations like ABC and ESPN have been broadcasting our games a lot more. Amazon Prime and Twitter, that has been huge. Facebook, just seeing all these people who have, decided to invest a little bit more into women's sports has been really nice to see. I think there can be more that can be done. There's always more that can be done, but I'm always grateful for the little strides that we take, and everyone's talking about expansion and things like that. I have not seen conversation about expansion this much ever. So it's really exciting, and I hope that we can add a team or two in the next few years. That would be incredible, because there's so many players that should be in the league that aren't in the league, and so many cities that should have a WNBA team that don't have one. It would be amazing to bring back some teams that were in cities that aren't there anymore. I think that entire process could be something that would bring a lot of excitement, to the WNBA alone. Revamping teams. Like, I think that it wouldn't be an easy marketing thing, but like just revamping anything, that's always exciting and always brings a lot of attention. So I'm hoping to see that really, really soon. That would be really exciting. And I want to start visiting different cities. I'm tired of these same 11 other cities that we go to. So.
I've been wanting a WNBA team here in Toronto for so long.
Yeah, I think Toronto would be an amazing place to have a WNBA team. Seriously,
because we have the support here. Everybody wants it. We just need the team.
Just need to find some millionaire and billionaires. That's all.
So my final question for you today is, knowing what you know now and how you've learned and grown as not only a person, but as a basketball player as well, and how you've come out on top as what you've stated as this new version of Lexie Brown, what advice would you give to either your younger self, someone who looks up to you, or anybody listening to this podcast?
The advice I would give is, don't be afraid to learn from yourself, and you don't always have to make a mistake to learn. Something could 100% be going the way you want it to go, but it is always necessary to self-reflect and see, steps that you took. You're like, well, could I have done this a little differently? And if you didn't have to, then that's great. You still had a moment of self-reflection, which is important, because when something does go wrong, you're not going to be like, well, what do I do? Like, you're going to know to self-reflect anyway. It's just always growing and learning and being a sponge. And if someone is trying to help you, listen, even if it's not something that you want to hear at the time. It's always important to, allow people to help you. And just be yourself. I think that's the most important thing. Don't let anybody make you feel bad for who you are. Unless you're a terrible person, then you need to change. But if you are, a shining person with a bubbly personality, you have energy, and that upsets people, then that says more about them than you. And I think you just need to continue being yourself and walking in your light and doing what you like to do.
I completely agree. So I just wanted to thank you so much, Lexie, for joining me here today and sharing your insight and everything, and just engaging in this discussion with me. It was really fun. It was really exciting to get to know you and speak with you. And I just wanted to say thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Mel Gill Sports Podcast. Don't forget to follow on all social media at Mel Gill Sports Pod.